After you joined Threads last November,
here we go.
Taiwanese netizens found you they found you very quickly, and within a short time, tens of thousands of people were just following you, and some were even comparing you to the looks of, the mayor of Taipei. With all these enthusiasm and support online, have you felt the love from Taiwan?
So this is a very embarrassing topic, and we can stay with it because I think it's kind of important. I mean, I'll tell you a story. Back in 2019,
right,
something.
Your first visit.
Well, my last visit to Hong Kong.
Okay.
I can't go back there. I'm named in Jimmy Lai's case, and
160 times.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I can't go back there as much as I'd love to. But in 2019, there was this kind of weird thing that happened. I'll tell you the story. One of the most hated politicians in Hong Kong is a guy called Junius Ho. He's not a nice guy. And together with a couple of politicians, I got his honorary doctorate in the UK taken away from him. And I was there in 2019 for the last 3 elections they had, the district council elections. And we went to his constituency. And I didn't realize this now because that guy was like, he's very embedded with triads and stuff, and he was surrounded by these guys. But I just walked straight up to him through those people and said, I was responsible for getting rid of your doctorate, basically, ha, ha, ha. And this went super, super viral in Hong Kong. And as a result of that, there was like a brief period of similar kind of attention based upon looks and stuff. And in that period of time, like, I'm just going to be honest with you, your ego really likes that kind of thing at one level.
Because why not?
And yeah, because why not? And it's easy to seek that stuff and to be drawn down a road thinking, I will get my meaning from this. I will get my sense of self from this. And in 2019, pretty quickly, that popularity fell off. And
was there an incident, or it just naturally fell off?
No, I think it's just the way it works.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it just goes up and down. So having this period in Taiwan, it's lovely. If it helps to promote our work, great. It's very flattering. I couldn't lie to you and say I don't like the attention. It's really nice. It makes me feel less old. And all of that.
Which, do you mind me asking?
My age? I am 41.
You're not that old, come
on. I'm over the hill, man, yeah.
Okay,
I am.
Do go on.
I'm done, I'm finished.
Okay.
I got 3 kids. If there are still people who are finding me attractive, I'm a happy guy.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, for as long as this period is something that we can use to try to raise awareness of our work, to make me feel good about myself at the same time, then it's like 2 ticks rather than 1. But the most important thing is that my team were particularly keen to use this as a channel to amplify what IPAC's work was about.
First, what do you mean your team? Mm-hmm. And second, do you read the comments that, from your Taiwanese followers?
Yes, I do read them, which is a pain because it requires translating every one of them. And
can't you just, we find AI for that?
I have to yeah.
Or do you ask someone what's he saying?
I sometimes do that.
Right.
Yeah. I do read them. I read them because I don't take for granted the fact that people are engaging. Mm-hmm. And it makes a nice change from X, because my posts on X, there's like hundreds of Chinese bots that just attack me immediately.
Like, F you should rot now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you were to look at my X account and compare it to the Threads account, it's like night and day. One of them thinks I'm a stupid idiot. Right. One of them thinks I'm great.
You're the foreign devil.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I read them. What was your question?
Has there been any comments that, surprised or just kind of really stayed with you?
I mean, nothing particularly leaps out, but I'm encouraged by what's said,
right?
Because people are saying, keep at it.
Yeah.
This work means a lot to us. The stuff that's personally nice about me, okay, obviously, I would try to take that compliment well if I can. But the main thing for us is are we in our work doing the stuff that the Taiwanese people want us to do? Because if I lose that connection, this whole work is pointless. We have to be representing something which is wanted here. Otherwise, we're as bad as everybody else in dismissing Taiwanese agency.
One of the questions I want to ask you, the key word being Taiwan, why do you feel so connected with Taiwan with us? That was that's my first question. And second is, so here's the brief background. So last year, Vice President Xiao Bikim delivered a speech at the European Parliament, and that's an event widely seen as a major diplomatic breakthrough for Taiwan. And IPAC played a key role in making that happen. You've probably revealed that, you've previously revealed that many of the parliamentarians in attendance didn't actually know that Vice President Xiao herself would be speaking until the moment she actually physically walked into that room.
That's right, yeah.
That's just, I don't understand how that works. How is that possible? Second question. And the next question is, for what was essentially a diplomatic level, like security and secrecy operation, what kind of planning and preparation went into making it happen?
All right, so in your first question, the issue was security. It was always going to be security around this. Remember that when she visited Prague, widely reported now, before she became VP, there was a planned kinetic attempt on her life. We couldn't take any chances around any of that. Not only that, we knew that the more noise there was about this and the more people who knew about it, the more likely it would be that Beijing would try to disrupt it. And they tried to disrupt it anyway, but we didn't want to increase that.
Of course.
So we kept it extremely quiet from everybody in the assembly until it actually happened. We did advertise that it was a special guest. Nobody guessed it was her, which was quite funny. So then she comes in and everyone's like, whoa. So yeah, I mean, the practicalities of keeping that quiet, relatively simple. Not so simple when you involve a lot of government agencies, which had to be involved in order to pull that thing off, because you don't know who they're talking to.
Right.
But we did okay. You know, we kept a lid on it. Certainly when it came to IPAC's own communications, we were very solid. On the second point, the second question was about what's required to pull something like that off. Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you're like, oh, this might not actually happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. At several points. But okay, let me talk you through it. The difficulty with this is that when you're dealing with the European Union, you're not dealing with one government. You're dealing with 27 member states. In addition to that, you've also got the parliament, which is in a country, which is Belgium. So you've got to deal with that government. So what you're actually trying to negotiate is not something with a single country representing a single country's interests. You're trying to negotiate with a massive entity that represents loads of diverse countries' interests, some of which are worryingly pro-China.
Hungary being one of them?
Hungary would be a definite problem. And not only, you know, there are some other countries in Europe that have got a less than realistic policy when it comes to China. But then in addition to that, you've also got to deal with Belgium. And Belgium itself will have its own view. So there was a lot that needed to be worked through in order to make this thing happen. There were a couple of breakthroughs on this. I think the major breakthrough was that we established that it could happen at all, which means, for the purposes of your listeners, you know, I don't know how much everybody's into one China policies and one China principles. I don't want to go into too much detail, but what we established was that this kind of thing, with senior Taiwanese government representatives speaking in Western or democratic parliaments around the world, can happen if members of parliament have issued that invitation, and it's not something that a government should stand in the way of. So we've established that precedent, which is quite a big deal. But, you know, we had to make sure that there was security for her. We had to make sure that there's protocol for her. These are all things that engage diplomatic arms of various governments. So there was a lot to do.
We don't have the time to talk about the difference between one China policy, which is what most countries abide by, I'll say that. And China claims that people should abide by one China principle, which is a totally different matter, but that's something for you to Google on your own. Thank you very much. Was during the planning process, you tried to keep it extremely quiet, of course, but did you ever encounter any pressure from just interesting people from China? Or were you so quiet that they didn't even know what was happening?
So the funny thing about this is that, first of all, I've got to credit your government, hey, because there was a lot of work that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs did to make this thing happen. Not straightforward for them. And remember, even though they are excluded and marginalized, they still have diplomatic channels, and they maxed those out.
Yeah.
They really did. So they did a great job. I'm not trying to say this is all us.
Don't say anything you're not supposed to, but
Sure.
how do they max out those channels?
Well, if you imagine that you can't get ministerial meetings
Right.
as an
Yeah.
ambassador,
As in their capacity as, yeah.
then you've got to meet the people that you can, who very often don't have the discretion to say yes or no. And you've got to
Right.
somehow negotiate with those people. Not straightforward at all.
So it's like staff to staff.
Yeah, because you're asking the people who don't have the ability to say yes or no, and you're asking them things which have potentially quite serious diplomatic consequences. Like, it's one of the many reasons that the downgrading of Taiwan, diplomatically speaking, is just exceptionally stupid, because it means you can't even have the necessary conversation. So even though they've got limited tools at their disposal, they did really, really well in their negotiations, I would say that.
Okay.
From our side, look, the truth is, let me be honest about it, there are people who are scared of diplomatic blowback from China, but Taiwan has a place in a lot of people's hearts across Europe and beyond, to the extent that I knew that when I was talking to people internally in the European Union, the mechanics of the European Union government, less so with Belgium, because I don't know those guys so well, but within the European Commission set up, etc., I knew I was talking to people who wanted this to happen. So I went to the right people to be able to poke the right sticks. And yeah, I mean, in the end, even though there was resistance, I felt we were pushing at an open door. People who wanted it to happen, who felt it was appropriate to happen.